He
He
was
was very outgoing. He had
a goof.
he had a big heart.
He had
He was very
tons of energy,
energetic,
huge passion for
and very
life.
athletic.
And
I
he
just
also had a huge
remember
heart.
the class
He was
clown.
very kind. He
There was always a joke for him.
very,
He enjoyed life. He really loved
what's the
living.
word? He was quite the
He played on
extrovert.
the
Had a lot of
H-Chi
friends, had a lot of female
junior varsity
friends, had a
football
lot of
team.
male friends. Very loved by
did
the
the band.
kids in his age group as well
also,
as the kids on the
ran
lacrosse
track.
team. He grew up playing
was
lacrosse
small,
with his brother,
but boy, could he
Doug,
run.
who was 3 years older than him. And because of that,
He was
I
likable.
think
Not
became
many
quite a
hated
good
Jamar.
lacrosse player
You-
quite early.
He could
because
walk
his
into a room
brother,
and he was the
who
center
was
of
3 years
attention.
older, was playing with him.
And he always
I remember
made me
watching
smile.
Jeff when he
loves
was
to sing. He's
just
always
in
singing
7th
for me
grade.
sometimes.
I knew he was a special talent. On top of his
that's,
personality, I knew he was a great
I
lacrosse
Know I
player.
Can Fly.
We pulled him up to JV in
Oh,
8th grade.
that's,
and
R.
he
Kelly,
made
I
varsity
believe it
lacrosse
is.
as a 9th grader here at Pittsburgh.
believe
And he ended
I
up
can fly.
as one of our starters.
Loved
Was a wonderful lacrosse player and a great
Yes,
person.
and he liked grandma's
He was
cooking.
very
Oh, yeah.
mischievous
He enjoyed
in
that.
school. In middle school, we
just
spent a lot
had
of time
so
at the
many
assistant
dreams
principal's office.
Just really wanting to
One of my favorite
be a provider. Talk about
stories of
having
him
a
being
family,
mischievous
getting married.
is
That I
in
can't
the
wait to
last
learn how
day
to
of,
drive. I remember one day he comes
middle
home
school,
with a car,
he
and I'm
was
like, "What are
riding
you
home in the
doing?"
bus,
And he's like, "This is
and, a
Anthony's
group of
car, Mom."
kids dared
And he's
him to
driving
open the
Anthony's car,
emergency
and I'm
door of the
thinking,
bus,
"Oh,
which of
you
course
can
he had to
drive?"
do because it was a
At
dare.
16.
And
so he was
opened the
studying,
emergency
and he
door
went and
of
got
the
his
bus.
permit.
And I
And,
ended up getting a call the last
really
day
ready to go and get
from
that
the
driver's
assistant principal
license,
asking me to come in
To
to get him
go
to
for
drive
the
him
following
home,
Def-
which
yeah, he had that appointment
that
to
year
go
I
take
think I
that
might have been
driver's
at the assistant
license. So
principal's
Then I
office maybe
promised him
a dozen times
soon
at
as you
least because of some
graduate
crazy
high
thing
school, then I'll buy you a car.
that Jeff
Grandma,
did.
will you buy me
He
a
was
car? I
definitely,
said, yes,
I
I
mean,
will.
probably the
You just
ideal,
graduate and
perfect
you
best
get
friend.
that
He was a
Every day after
definitely
school, we would
goofy,
leave
funny
class,
character. I don't
and
think
my
there was
grandmother
ever
lives right
anyone
across the
as
street in
funny
that
as
blue
him
house right
in the
there.
room.
But before we go over there, we just come up here
He had the
and
biggest
run the
heart.
steps and work out and
He
just
was
talk about our
always
future.
had a smile on his
Tomorrow wanted to go
face.
to college and play football,
He
but
was
we all know
definitely the most caring
Tomorrow
person
was
I've ever
not
met.
the biggest guy, but his heart was
And was just
of a
always
giant.
a good
And,
friend. He was
we'll
always
come here
the
every
center
day,
of
sit in the
attention
bleachers and just talk.
in the room, but
And then go to my
definitely
grandmother's
in a good
house
way,
and we'll
just
eat up
'cause
all her
his
food.
personality
But she
kind
loved
of
him and
electrified
everybody loved him.
everybody else.
I don't know what else I can say about Jeff because it's
Was he a
hard to
ladies' guy?
describe.
Well,
It's hard
you
to
know,
describe him. Just
middle
that,
school, coming into that
like
high
I
school
said, I
year
mean,
where they start to
he was
like girls and
a
want to date.
goof, but
You know,
he
16.
wasn't.
You know,
He didn't disrupt
had lots
class,
of friends.
but he just goofed around a lot.
But I remember
girlfriend
my
at the
brother
time,
was on the team
She
too.
called
I
me
remember
and
my
asked me
brother
if I heard
getting a
about
phone
Shamar.
call
And I said, no, I
from
talked to
Steve
him about
Vaughn,
3-4 hours ago.
the team
Like,
captain.
is everything
I was in
okay?
the hotel room
And
with
she
him.
said that she heard that he had
And
got
we
shot.
heard that someone had been
I
hit.
was calling his phone and it was going straight to
And
voicemail.
then I just remember my
And
brother.
I remember calling his
I had
sister,
saying that it was
Tasha,
Jeff
at the
that had
time,
been
and she
hit.
confirmed it.
And I just remember the next thing was
I was devastated. I was heartbroken.
Steve
I
telling my
couldn't
brother
couldn't
that
believe
he
it.
had
My
died.
father rushed me to the
And
hospital.
I just remember it
And,
was
I
like
stayed
the
up there for a whole day.
world came
I was
in.
bedside.
I just remember
It happened April 11,
running to my
2007.
room.
We
and
just celebrated
it
the
was
10
like
year
a state of shock.
anniversary of that.
Just
I was 16
being
years old.
that it was him.
I remember
And
just
to
the
this
next
day,
day
it
they were
almost
pronouncing
seems surreal
my brain
that
dead.
it still was
And
him.
It was the worst feeling I
It
ever
was
had
just
to
like
deal with.
everything
Still to this day,
the
I still
whole
cope with that loss.
universe certainly
I
came
always
in
go visit
just 'cause
his
it didn't
grave
make much sense
just on a
for
regular day.
someone,
Just
especially
it's
Jeff,
too late just to talk to him.
his level of
That was my best friend.
personality,
We shared lockers,
to have lost his life.
shared memories. And
For weeks I had
Well, when it first happened,
had Shamar on
you know,
my
I didn't
mind.
really
It
know
was
what was
just
going on, so I
a
ran up
heavy
to him.
feeling.
And I feel fortunate that
Why
there was
am I
a
feeling
trainer
this
there
way?
from
Kinda restless. I
Spencerport
want to
who was able to
sleep, I
get
couldn't
over to Jeff
sleep,
probably
I couldn't
within 3
think.
seconds
I
that I
was
was
just
over there.
restless.
I was probably with him for about 15,
Maybe
20 seconds. It seemed
dozed
like
off.
an eternity though when I think about it. And I remember being in that moment and
Suddenly,
just trying to
I
see what was
woke up.
wrong.
I jumped
He
out
was
of
unresponsive.
sleep.
And we were
Oh
trying
my
to
God.
talk to him,
I looked
so we
through
knew
the
it was something
window, it was
serious.
I said, oh my God, I'm late
And
for
it seemed
work.
like it took
Thinking
forever
it
for the
was
ambulance to
morning.
come. But I
Then
remember when
the
it
phone
came,
rang.
I jumped in our assistant coach's truck, and
And
another one of
then
our coaches got on the bus with the kids, and we set off
Shamar
to the
got
hospital,
shot in his
just
head.
hoping
Shamar
for the
got shot
best.
in
You know,
his
we
head.
really didn't know what was
He
going
needs
on.
help. He
The
needs help.
ambulance
And I showed it. I said,
people obviously
my
didn't
God,
tell
oh
us
my
too
God.
much.
And he said,
But I did
"Call
ask
his
one
mother.
guy
Call his
if he was
auntie."
going to be
I
all right.
said,
I
"I
kept
cannot
asking him
do
that,
it. You
and he
do
wouldn't
it."
answer me, so I knew something serious was going
He
on.
I
called
was
me at
actually
work and
on my way to the
he said,
lacrosse game
Mom, I'm going to go to
see
Grandma's
it when
house.
I
And
got
I
a
thought,
call,
you've
and
been
I got a
gone
call
since Sunday. I
from
said, you know what? I don't
his
feel comfortable with you
brother
going. Why don't you just
saying
stay
that
home?
he had been hit
And
by a
he was like,
lacrosse
Mom,
ball.
what's the problem? What are you so worried
And
about? And I said,
then he said that
I
he
don't know,
had
I
to
just
call
don't-
me back.
I don't feel right. I
And
don't
the
think
next
that
call, and I
it's
was
safe
literally in the
there.
car, and the
But
next
I'm not
call
saying
that I
her
got
home
was
isn't
from
safe.
an
It's
EMT
city. It's the
saying
city.
that
It's the city
he had been
life
hit
that
with a
I'm
ball
nervous
and that
about.
they were taking him
But he says, Mom, me?
to
Why me?
the
Why
hospital
would anyone want to harm me?
to
And I thought, I'm not
you
saying
know,
that there
to
may
help
be
him
an
out.
intent
Initially,
to
I
harm
didn't
you,
think that
but there
I mean,
is
I was
people
nervous,
out
but
there,
I
and
thought
bullets do not
that there was
have
nothing
a
to be concerned
name on it,
about.
and bullets ricochet.
So I was
I took the call in
in
as I'm getting into the car. You know, you're putting your phone
the
in
hall
and,
of the
like,
emergency
turning,
room,
you know, just trying to enter
and
into the car,
a
and
chaplain walked up to me. I was with my
I was
friend,
just shocked. It was like
and
you
Doug,
get stopped in
and
your moment,
being
you
in
know. And I'm
healthcare,
like,
I kind of
what
knew
are
that
you
that was
saying?
like a really
What do you
bad
mean?
sign if a
And
chaplain was walking
the
up to me.
scream.
And so
Joan, Shamar
I
is
thought,
dead.
this is really serious.
He just got shot, and that's all I heard.
And,
Shamar is dead, and he just got shot.
So
So my son
basically
Shamar is
screamed
in
at the
room 2.
chaplain. And
This is
then they
how
worked
I
him in the emergency
can
room.
recall
They
it.
took him to the
And there's
pediatric
someone
intensive
in
care
room
unit and did
in
some
front
work
of room 1. I just remembered
there
this on the right side, and as I'm
strong.
walking in, I
And
look over to my right, and I see this young man,
after maybe
and I see this family
3 or
grieving,
4 hours,
because it's
we
human nature just
were
to
told
look.
that he was brain dead.
And I passed that room, and then
We were
this is
upstairs
Shamar's
on
room,
the PIC unit.
and I go in there, and the
There
first thing I
were
thought
a
was
good
to hold
number
him,
of lacrosse players and their
not even
families
thinking
up there
that
waiting with us
he's
to
dead.
see
Not even thinking that
what the results
he's got
of
a
the
bullet
event
in him.
was.
Of knowing him
It's
was,
hard to
was
kind of
tremendous.
sum up.
He changed the way I looked at life.
impact.
He really
I don't think
valued
people
life. He was
to
just
this day still kind
his
of understand
personality.
the impact
You
he's
had to
played
meet him.
on.
I couldn't even
I
explain
know
it.
my life
He
personally,
was so
but as
loving.
far
He
as
was
like
hilarious.
this program and
He was a
community,
comedian. He was
I
so
know
fun
just
to be
alone,
around.
I mean,
I
I think
he was
every
carefree.
single
He
accomplishment
was
I
the
ever
most
had in
genuine person
lacrosse,
that I ever
and
met.
even for the most part
He
life,
just showed me that,
and
you
in
know,
some way or
life is
another,
short.
it kind of comes
You never
back
know when
to
your time is coming. But
trying to live my
while you're here,
life
just make
to
the
the
most of it.
standard that he lived his,
Try to
or
make
make
an
an
impact
impact
on
like he
people.
did.
Right
the
after
TV
Jeff
was on,
died,
and I
a
could
good
just see
friend of
myself.
ours
I'm
approached
looking up at the
us,
TV,
like several days later,
and I
and
hear
asked
there was a
if
drive-by
we
shooting in
wanted
the
to
city of
start,
Rochester
or
today. Breaking
we
news,
might
you know.
consider
And then
doing
the
something
next
in the
story
way
is
of
there's a
starting a
14-year-old
nonprofit
Jeff
in memory
Milano
of Jeff.
who was
So we
warming
created the
up or
organization,
getting
and at
ready
that
for a
time it was
game or
called
at
the Jeff
practice, and
Milano
he got
Johnson Memorial
he
Fund.
dropped and collapsed.
Created the organization and knew that we
playing
wanted to
lacrosse.
help kids in the city, but
And
also
so I'm looking up,
that
and
we
I'm
wanted
thinking,
to acknowledge
wow, I wonder if
lacrosse
that's
and
the
the role that
person
it played.
next door to
There
us.
was this
Because
young
they said there was
man
a young man playing
across the
lacrosse.
hall
He's in
who had been
grave,
shot.
you know, didn't
He
say
was
he
in
was
the
dead
city
just
of,
yet.
lived in the city of
And
Rochester, and
he's
was
at
shot
Strong
right
Hospital.
around the same time that
And we all know he's
that
in
Jeff
intensive care, and so am I.
died.
And so I kind
And
of, I
I
wondered that might
didn't
be them.
pay attention
But
at all,
I
really,
did get the call,
to the media
and she
around
said
Jeff's
there's a
death. I
lady.
just knew that there
her
was
name is Mary Jane
a
Milano,
lot of media attention
Jeff
given
Milano's
to Jeff's
mother.
death
And I thought,
because the
oh, and she
media
said the lacrosse.
really
and I said, yeah,
was
I remember
very
her. I remember the
forceful
story.
and
she says, well, Joan, she
at
would like
trying
to meet
to
you.
get in
Is it okay
contact
if I
with
give
me
her your
and
number?
my
I said,
family.
of course.
And then someone had
Mary
mentioned
Jane, who
that
doesn't
the
live
young
in the
man
city
on
of
the floor
Rochester,
was actually
who could have
murdered
closed her door and who cares?
in the city.
I'm just mourning
And
my
then
son.
what
This is
happened
to-
was
in
maybe,
remembrance of my son, but
maybe
she
1 or 2
included
months later,
a black child.
I decided
a
to
child
reach
that
out
died by
to that
violence,
family.
that by
And
by
so it just
murder.
became apparent
She
to me.
included that to be on the
a couple
same
things became
page of
apparent
her
to
son.
me. One was
that
how
connection,
similar Joan
that no
and
matter the
I
difference
were,
in
in
circumstances
fact, although we
or
grew up in
money,
very different environments, and
economic,
our son
no
has
matter
died in very different
finances.
ways.
No matter nothing, we're still human beings.
I just
And we're
recognized
still
how
people.
similar we were, and then
Those
also
were two young boys.
the
We're
stark
not talking about
contrast
color. We're
between
not talking about race.
the
We don't talk about socioeconomics. Who
environment
cares about
in
all
which
that?
I lived
talking
and in
about
which
two
Jeff
young boys
died in
lost their
Pittsburgh,
lives
New York,
that
being
traveled together.
a
And
fairly
That's what touches me the most.
well-off
We look at our economy today,
town
we look at what's going on
around
today, and we see
Rochester
that
that's 15
separation
minutes
and
away
that
from the
division.
city of Rochester,
But not Mary
where
Jane, not
the
this
poverty is
organization.
just so pervasive and the needs.
That's going on out there,
needs are
not Mary
so
Jane. There's no
huge.
division here.
So that
We're still
helped me change the name of the organization and then helped me direct the activities around the organization to improving the lives of kids in the city. First, we began by giving scholarships to kids who graduated from the city high school.
When I see my son's name on a scholarship, you know, it's like, oh my God. I mean, he's gone, yes, but he's being recognized, he's being honored. His memory still lives because of Mary Jane. If it wasn't for her and that organization, I would talk about Shamar. We would at home, but who out there would continue talking about it?
We also decided to, and this is more recently, decided to help address the gap between the kids in the city and the kids in the suburbs and do something in the way of exposing them to each other and helping them to get to know each other just so that they too understand that there are a lot of similarities between them, which is something that we as a society, I think, could need a lot of work on. In understanding the similarities between people of diverse backgrounds and people who don't look like us.
Still lives. His death was not in vain. You know, he's gone. And he's not forgotten and never will be. And I may not be here to be able to celebrate every birthday, to mourn every day the date of death. But Mary Jane is right here in that same community, still delivering that message.
Me sponsoring this event, as well as me continuing to grow Rochester Kids, is a very important process for me and helps me in the grieving process and also helps me keep Jeff's spirit and his passion for life and his love alive. And that's his legacy. And I will continue to spend a lot of time doing this in showing my continued love for my son.